Good afternoon. Today, we're going to talk about how hedge funds and Reddit users were trying to increase and decrease the GameStop stock and how companies like Webull were affected by this and their ethical dilemmas. Hi, my name is Daniel Sequeira and my teammates.
Hi, I'm Yuanshu.
Hi, I'm Joshua.
So, first, we need to introduce the parts that are invested in this dilemma. So, first is GameStop. GameStop is a video game store that has any and everything you need for gaming. That goes from consoles to, of course, video games, controllers, PC parts, anything that you need. But their sales have been falling in 2018 and 2019 because of their outdated business model. Basically, nowadays, everything is virtual, especially for video games. You can buy the video games instantly and have them on your console in half an hour instead of going to the store and buying it and going back. It's much less of a hassle, and sometimes it's even cheaper. So, what does this have to do with anything? Well, hedge funds saw this and know that they haven't been able to adapt to the new industry, and therefore they were shorting the GameStop stock. But what does this mean? This means that basically they were betting against GameStop. So if the stock of GameStop went down, the hedge funds would earn a lot of money. And apparently, some Reddit users in a subreddit called Wall Street Bets, and they self identified as gamers, didn't like this because GameStop has been a big part of gaming for years. And so they started to buy the stock and buy the stock to increase its price. And only in January, they were able to increase the price from $17.25 to $347.51. And not only did this make these people a lot of money, it also made the hedge funds lose a lot of money. The other part is Webull. Webull is basically an online trading app, and it can be used by virtually anyone in the United States if you're over 18 and you have a social security number. And the reason why this is important is because another big online trading app called Robinhood didn't when they saw what was happening with GameStop, they believed that this was market manipulation and therefore they didn't allow their stock to be bought and or sold in their app. And this brings us to the ethical question, which is Anthony Denier, who is the CEO of Webull, had to make the choice as to whether Webull had a stronger and priority of obligation towards the freedom of and its service to its users, or to stop the market manipulation as presented in the situation to maintain integrity of capital markets. So, a little bit of industry background. At the moment, Webull hadn't still made the decision about whether to keep selling and buying the GameStop stock or not, but their closest competitors, Robinhood, didn't allow it. And Webull, as I said before, is a retail investment app, and it opened in 2017. And before this GameStop situation, they had 1.2 million users. But a lot of disgruntled customers from Robinhood were moving from Robinhood to Webull because of the situation. So it is expected that they have at least 2 million users right now.
Then I'll talk about the current situation and the analysis of the case. Back to 2020, as Daniel mentioned, the GameStop was underperformed the market. The Wall Street institutional investors such as Citron believed this is a failing business and they heavily shorted the stock. If the stock price of GME goes down, they will get profit from it. However, the Wall Street Bet Rabbit Group were disgruntled with the Wall Street Bet against the GameStop and the common market practice as a whole. Um, so the investors thought they could challenge the higher ups at some of the biggest firms on Wall Street. So they get united and heavily buy in the stock, which leads to a huge rise of GME stock price. And this news went viral on internet. There are more and more individual investors trying to buy the stock, not only the current Weibo user, but also there are a lot of new users trying to enter the stock market to get profit. And they are the retail investors in long position and the institutional investors are in the short position. Weibo promised trading platforms for the retail investors. On January 27th, some institutional investors reported that they closed out their short position and they suffered a tremendous loss. It seemed that there is a big win for retail investors. However, on January 28th, Webull and many other trading platforms halted GME transaction due to the clearinghouse requirements. The retail investors cannot buy in the stock, but they can only sell the stock. We can see from the chart. After Webull restricted the trading of GME, the stock price went down rapidly. And there are some points Webull needs to consider for actions. Market manipulation is illegal in United States based on the Section 9 of Securities and Exchange Act of 1934, the Exchange Act. It is unlawful to manipulate the price of securities. SEC is getting involved to investigate Webull. So they could be in trouble with SEC because they could get like the Wall Street Bet group manipulates the market in an unfair way. Also, the Webull user did is kind of right of express and freedom. In Webull website, they valued their beliefs that individuals are an important part of the market and should not be ignored. In this situation, restarting trading on GME upsets their customers by disallowing them to collect profits. Then, then I'll talk about some of the key constituency groups. First is the Webull users. A decision to halt in trading on GameStop would be effectively impact the ability of individual investors on Webull platforms to capitalize their gains that GameStop stocks is making in the market. They might lose current users and their trust. Webull's success as a business is predicted on making markets more accessible to individual investors. They need to consider this decision violates the core of Webull's business offering or not. And second, they need to consider Webull and its competitive set. Restricting trading might result their users I found alternative service in Webull's competitors, such as Robinhood. So Webull would experience significant business disruption. So Webull need to carefully observe and consider how its competitors are handling the situation. And third, they need to consider institutional investors. Many institutional investors have the interest in the short position on GameStop, considering the finance performance of the company in the recent years. So explosive raising of the price result in billions of dollars of exposure, the risk exposure for the investors. While a decision is held trading would limit the exposure for this institutional and all of the clients by extension. And this decision could be seen as protecting Wall Street institutional investors. And last, Webull need to consider SEC. SEC is getting involved, and Webull need to consider SEC investigations and the determination of the appropriate course of action by the federal government.
Next, let me analyze the consequence of restricting or allowing trading of GME stocks. First of all, if it still be restricted, then Webull will not comply with business primacy to provide a free market for retail investors, causing a large number of users to stop using it, and the brand image is seriously damaged. This will also indirectly lead to a large number of retail investors choosing its competitors for stock trading. As a company that benefits from trading volume, this will be a big loss. In addition, Webull will also receive lawsuits from retail investors since they can't conduct normal transactions while institutional investors can. which has seriously harmed the interests of retail investors. By the way, Webull will be investigated by the SEC and the federal government because it undermines the free trading rights of the market. Second, if it allows trading of GME stocks, it can directly build users' brand loyalty. It can even attract a large number of users who are dissatisfied with the handling measures of other platforms. Such an approach may cause GME stock to continue to rise, so institutional investors will lose more money or even go bankrupt. Finally, Webull will still be investigated by the SEC and the federal government because of the drastic market volatility, and the issue involves market manipulation. Anthony Denier, as the CEO of Webull, he needs to allow trading of GME stock as soon as possible under the premise of meeting the required deposit minimums. This is very necessary. Robinhood and the Webull are both zero commission brokerage, but because Robinhood has a first move advantage as a pioneer, it has more users. Webull can take this opportunity to attract more users. Acquiring more users means having more transaction volume and profit. Second, doing so can also help Webull establish a very good brand image in this industry and emphasize their original intention. Individuals are an important part of the market. Of course, they may also be investigated by SEC and federal government because of the violent fluctuation in the stock market. This has a very large impact on the company. Therefore, we recommend they can ask company's legal department to prepare materials in advance. They will also be sued for halting trade on GME stock. The impact is moderate. Therefore, the legal department must collect sufficient evidence. For example, they need to meet the required deposit minimums to be forced to affect the free trading market. That's all. Thank you.